All right, good evening again, everyone. Welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the first complete trend move that the H1 has completed. As you know, this week, my bias is actually currently bullish in line with the required high that needs to be made on the 4-hour. So I'm going to discuss the first trade, which actually, the first complete move actually hit our take profit today. However, a high was completed yesterday on the 30-minute, which allowed us to be able to take profits. So it's 2 profitable days, but 1 complete move where you could actually get multiple trades out of the move. So I'm going to show you how that was actually done, how that was achieved, and also breaking down what a complete trend move looks like on the 1 hour. So before we begin, let's just pray. God, thank you again for this another opportunity to trade and this opportunity for us to be successful and to share knowledge. I pray for anyone watching this video. I pray that you will help them, that they will be able to understand the concepts, and may we all grow together as we trade together. We thank you and we love you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so those of you who had a chance to watch my videos for this week, my analysis video, will know that I have said that I am going to be bullish until the 4-hour actually makes a high. Now, in order for me to do that, in order for the 4-hour to make a high, it means that all time frames smaller than the 4-hour needs to be making higher lows, higher highs in order for the 4-hour to finish that move. Which means if they're coming from lower lows, there's going to have to be a break in structure and a new structure is formed so that the smaller time frames, in particular the 1 hour, will actually be able to make those moves. So I'm going to show you the trade that was taken and what the trend move actually looked like today on the chart. Okay, so as you know, at 5 o'clock on Friday, on Monday, that's where I took my first entry, which was here. Price bought up and it had a a drop to extend that lower low some more. Wasn't concerned about it because I knew that I came in on a lower low on the 1 hour, which was actually a low on the 4-hour. Okay, so I was not concerned about that. Okay, because I knew the market was actually at the bottom of this particular move. It's coming from the high on the 4-hour, came down, it made the low. And also, if you look at your daily, you'll see that it actually completed a lower low on the daily also. So this market was actually at the bottom of its current trend. Okay. All right. So going back to the 1 hour, came in here. Okay. So remember, I mentioned to you that in order for the 4-hour to make a high, the smaller time frames, in particular the 1 hour, which is where I take most, if not all, of my entries, needs to be making higher lows, higher highs in order for that move to be completed. Okay, so it came in from a lower low right here, which means I know once I'm looking at this, that this move is not over because I don't see a higher high or a higher low anywhere on this chart. So I know this move is not over. Also, the next thing that I do is I go down to my 4-hour and I notice that my 4-hour has not completed a high. Okay, why is that significant? Remember, I mentioned to you, each time the market makes a high, it tends to work itself down to make a low at some point in time. Whether it's a higher low or a lower low, it tends to work itself down to make a low. So every time it made a low, it worked itself up to make a high. It made a high right here, came straight down in a direct move fashion on Friday to actually complete that low. So the market has been very consistent with how it has been making the highs and the lows, especially on the 4 hour. So that is the reason why my bias has been that I'm going from the highs to the lows and from the lows to the highs on my 4 hour, and any smaller time frame below my 4 hour needs to be making higher lows, higher highs in order for me to know that this move is over. All right. So going back, this is where I came in on Monday. Okay. Notice price came up, came down, did some consolidation. It didn't move as much as people wanted it to move. However, this particular move on Friday was more than enough. Sorry, on Monday. I keep saying Friday, I'm sorry. On Monday was more than enough to double my account. Sorry, to right here. It was more than enough to double my account. So it was 3,000 pips. You know that I need $2,500 to double my account in one trade. That's because I use something which is called a 25,000 divider. I will repeat, I do not recommend you using that strategy. It's very risky. I risk 30% of my account on each trade. Okay. So with this move right here, came in right here, came up. This was 3,000 pips right off the bat. Okay. Now, how did I end up with 3 trades at the end of this point right here? So my take profit today, my ultimate take profit, which I did mention in the mines today, was 1 second. Let's get out of here. My ultimate take profit was it was 14851.7 thereabout. Okay, I actually extended that take profit. I actually realized from doing more analysis that it would push up a little bit more based on what I was seeing on the O&A candle. You guys will see that I do use 2 charts as it relates to my NAS analysis. I use the O&A chart, and I also use the Vantage chart. They're a little bit different sometimes, but not by much. I mean, they're just off. Like, for example, today, that's one of the reasons why I actually ended up having to stay in this trade for so long, because they actually gave 2 different reading points, which is fine. One just gave a high while the other one gave a lower high. And all that meant was that I would now have to wait for a higher low and for it to come back and break previous lower high. So let's look at the O&A chart at first. Okay. So this was the move, okay, where I got in. First exit, that was yesterday. Okay. How was I able to take another entry today? Okay. Real simple. So let's do the replay tool. So this was yesterday. All right. That's where price actually ended. Price actually ended at a lower high. Now remember, for me, I am looking for price to make higher lows, higher highs up until when the 4 hour makes a high. So if I'm not seeing higher low, higher highs, I'm not really interested in exiting out the trade per se, unless we have a situation here where I have 3,000 pips. That's more than enough to double my account. Take my profit and just wait for another setup, because it will come, because the market needs to be making higher lows, higher highs. We're far from that, right? Okay. So now that you're out, I'm waiting for another entry. So I'm looking at what's going on. So market did this, it bought up, then it came down, Now, when I go on my 30-minute, okay, I noticed that on my 30-minute came from a lower low all the way up to a high, okay, in a direct move fashion, which means every single time frame needs to be making a higher low, higher high until the 4 hour makes that high in order for me to know that the move is complete. So as watching my half hour time frame, There's no higher low that came on, which means I cannot get a higher high until a higher low is formed. So market did this, bought up all night, and then it dropped. I got the first sign of a higher low right here. Okay, so I actually went in this trade. All right, I took this trade because again, the time frames need to be making higher lows, higher highs. So this is of importance, and I did a post on my minds earlier today. You can actually check that out, where I showed you what a breaking structure would look like once I'm trading in the direction of the high on the 4-hour. Now, you notice price move all the way from a lower low and it made a new high. A new high is a high that is higher than a previous high. So this high is higher than this previous high, so it formed a new high. Okay? So this right here is a breaking structure. Why I call it a breaking structure? Notice before the market was making lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. Although this says low, it's lower than these previous lows. So it's a technical lower low. Okay, and then it went lower high, lower low. So that's the trend we see over here. Okay. So in order for that trend to be maintained, you'd need to have lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, keep going down. However, we saw that the market, instead of making a lower high, came all the way up and broke this area and made a new high. That is a break in structure. That is the break in the current down structure that you have here. That's a break on the high side. Okay? So because I see this break on the high side, okay, and I know already that my 1 hour is also at a lower low, okay, and my 4 hour is actually at the low that I was waiting on, okay, and my half hour is already at that lower low. Immediately once I see this, I know that this is a break towards the upside, okay, and you may ask, why isn't this considered a full break towards the upside? Good question. Although it's coming from a lower low, okay, and it broke the structure, current structure for a new high, the 4 hour at this point did not complete its move. Okay, let's check. So once I move this over here, all right, and we go to this lower low, let's look at where the 4 hour is. So we go on the 4 hour. 4 hour is in fact still at a higher low. So I know that this move is not over because again, I'm trading from highs to lows. So I'm not trading from high to higher low on the 4 hour. I'm trading from high to low. So in order for a new low to be formed, it has to come down and break this previous higher low right here. Okay. So that is why I knew that this move was not over, right? So although it did that direct break, okay, that didn't concern me because I knew that the 4 hour did not finish its move. So this is technically a lower high, okay? It's what I call a technical lower high, all right? So price came down, all the way down, all the way down, worked itself all the way down, and it made the lower low all the way to the bottom on Friday. Okay, so now price came up. We got our 3,000 pips the day before. Now we see price doing its thing, and then I notice now after this breaking structure, I'm getting a confirmation move. Now this is the final confirmation move that you need in order to let you know that the market is now in a bearish structure. You have the break from lower low to high. Then you have the confirmation, which is basically some people call it the retest. So you have the confirmation right here, right, which is a higher low. And then from the higher low, you have higher highs. And then from there, you'll have higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, until the 4 hour actually makes its high. Okay. So this is where we're at. Half hour came down, okay, and it made its higher low. So I was in this trade, okay. So my next exit should have been my higher high. Okay, because if I'm trading higher lows, higher highs, guess what? I'm entering on my higher lows, exiting on my higher highs. Okay. However, I did not take that exit this morning because I did not want to confuse myself. The reason is I'm really trading on the 1 hour time frame. So on my 1 hour time frame, I'm really looking for a higher low, higher high. But in this case, the 1 hour has not created its high as yet. So in order for the 1 hour to create its high, it needs to break this previous lower high right here to put on a high. Okay, so price did that. Okay, got my entry. Boom, it put on a high right here. And you may say, why didn't you come out? Here is the reason why I did not come out of this trade. Remember, I told you I watched 2 different charts for my NAS100. So I watched my Vantage and I watched my Oanda. I like the Vantage because the Vantage kind of gives me a little bit more detail, and it's just a matter of preference. But look at what the Vantage actually did. Notice the high came on the Oanda chart. When you look at the Vantage was still on the, at that point in time, the Vantage was still at a lower high. Okay, let's bring this across here. So we did that. Okay, Vantage was at a lower high, and the 1 hour was actually sitting at this higher right here. This is at 10 o'clock, and on my Vantage, this was at 10 o'clock also. Okay, so because I was trading on the Vantage, I did not want to come out of this trade because it was a lower high and I was really waiting for a high. Okay, now all that means is, okay, even if this time frame makes the high, okay, it's an opportunity for me to actually get out. Okay, so if I was watching this, I could have gotten out here. Okay, then I would wait for a retest, which is the higher low, and then it goes back to break this point to make the higher high. All right, so that's how you get the full trend move. Lower low to high. Okay, that's the breaking structure. It broke right here to make a new high, came back, confirmation, retest, higher low, then to higher high. So that is why I actually set my take profit right here in this region, because I knew it would have to break this line in order to put on a higher high, because the market is making higher lows, higher highs. Okay, so now I go back to my original chart, which is my Vantage. And the Vantage chart has been acting up today, guys. I am not sure what has been happening with it. It has been really acting strange today. All right. Yeah, it's moving my lines all over the place, and I really don't know what's going on with it. Okay, so here we are back on this chart, and I'm just going to close this out. 1 second. 1 second here. Trying to get back into my my chart. I lost my lines for some reason. I lost my lines on my Vantage. I'm gonna have to do them over, but that's okay. All right, so basically what we're looking at now is this is how I got the second entry. So the second entry came here, okay, and then from here I was now able to go up for this break, which is a segmented high. So that's okay, although I didn't take this because it was not high. It came down, it made a higher low. I just had to wait for it to come up and make a high. Because remember, I'm not worried about it turning back because I know the market, the time frame has to make higher lows, higher highs in order for it to go up to finish the move on the 4-hour chart. Okay, so I'm gonna just switch over right now to the O-under for the time being, since the Vantage is active. Okay, so what is my next move? My next move is, now that I'm out of this trade, because I'm taking higher lows, higher highs, I check my 4-hour, and on my 4-hour, I notice that my 4-hour still has not made a high. So I'm not concerned that this move is going to turn back anytime soon, because I'm going from lows to highs. Okay. All right. So how do I know that the move is going to push up some more? Well, one thing I can do, I can apply my fibs. And once I come here and I do my last sell fibs on my 4-hour, I notice that 61 to 78% is right here in this region. The only way the 4-hour will make a high right here is if it comes down from this higher low, makes a higher low, and then comes back up to break for a high. That's the only way it will form in this area. So even before it pushes down, this would have to push up to this zone, come down to form a higher low, and then come back to break this previous lower high to form a new high. That's the only way a high will form in this zone currently with what's going on. So if there's no segmented move on the 4-hour, you can rest assured that this low is coming all the way back to give you at least 100% retracement. So I know that this move is not finished. So how am I going to trade this move? Real simple. I go on my 1-hour, and I'm just picking up my higher lows. So I'm just taking higher lows, higher lows, higher lows until the 4-hour actually makes a high. All right. So on this particular chart, it finished with a higher high. This is the O-under chart. On the Vantage chart, which has been acting up, it finished at a segmented high. So if I'm watching my Vantage chart, what I'm looking for, I'm looking to see if price will come down to either make a higher low, which is kind of unlikely right now, or will it come down to break this to give me a new low? All the better. If it comes down to give me a new low, it's still a higher low because it's higher than this lower low. Perfect entry for me. Goes back up, it breaks this point. Once it breaks this point, take my profit, wait for a higher low, and then I'm now in the trend, higher low, higher highs. And that's it, guys. That's it. Real simple. But I will tell you this much, the strategy actually takes practice. It's easy to talk about in concept, in theory actually, but in practicality, it becomes a little bit difficult and challenging, and it requires some practice. One thing I will tell you, and I will stress again, there is no way price is here and you're going in here for a sell and you're going to have the best trade ever. It's not going to happen. Price is at a low, you have to wait for the retracement. Get in here, you have a much better opportunity to get more pips. Same thing with the lows. You cannot come in here and expect to be going for a buy. Yes, the market is buying, but it has to retrace before it buys. Remember, price cannot buy from a high. It needs to retrace and form one of the type of lows and buy from the low. And it sells from the high. So it buys from the low, sells from the high. All right. So I know this video was a little bit lengthy, but I hope it was real informative, and I hope that you know, it will be able to at least produce some clarity to some of you who might still be struggling with the highs and the higher lows and everything like that. But like I said, guys, take a demo account, practice. Don't be afraid to practice. Don't be too worried about, you know, putting your live money, risking your live money and everything when you have an option to use a demo account. I mean, I still trade demo accounts also, even with my live account. Okay. So the important thing is to remember, practice, stick to your analysis, develop a habit of being consistent. Don't be jumping all over the place on different time frames and jumping in and jumping out of the markets and stuff. Just sit down. One complete move, guys, from here all the way to take profit here was 4,000 pips. 4,000 pips. Now, using my strategy, if that was $1,000 in my account, that would actually be, let me tell you right now. So let me see, my lot size on that would be a 0.4 times 0.4 times 4,000. Okay, so that would be $1,600 on that one trade if I was using a $1,000 account. Just one trade in 2 days. If I just took the lower low right here and just waited, that's it. I mean, that's what I did, but I also added another entry here from the higher low, which I got from a smaller time frame, and I wrote it all the way to take profit. All right. So guys, just practice anything at all. You guys can reach out to me, just send me a message. I do have pretty much easy access. You can always just send me a message. I will respond to you as soon as I see it. But in the meantime, continue watching the videos, continue practicing, and just know that the more time you put in, the more chart time you put in, is the better you're going to get at it, and it's the more comfortable you're going to be with whatever strategies it is that you use. Like I said, I am not a signal service. I just share what I see on the charts. You can use my ideas, develop your own strategy, or if you want to mirror my ideas, that's up to you. However, I'm not a signal service, so I'm not going to be telling you when to get in and when to get out of trades and everything. I just comment on what I see. So with that being said, God, thank you again for another opportunity for us to discuss trading ideas. I pray a special blessing over everyone watching this video. May we all be successful, may we all improve, and may we all learn to be patient and consistent. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, guys, take care. Until next time.